So one of the discussions that we were having in classes last week and a few weeks before that was about something that I saw online or a little poster that I saw. And basically it said, I don't remember 100% word for word, but basically it said, when babies are learning how to walk and they fall down 50 times, 60 times, 70 times in a row, do you think the thought ever crosses their mind that, hey, maybe this walking thing really isn't for me? No, absolutely not. They'll get back up again and they'll keep walking, or they'll stand there, they'll figure it out, they'll fall down, they'll get up, they'll hit their head on the wall, they'll cry, they'll get back up, and they'll keep going. Babies are relentless. Babies are relentless, okay? And us being parents, we know that. Babies will cry until they get what they want, right? The big reason why they are so relentless, and the big reason why that thought of maybe walking's just not for me, that thought never crosses their mind, is because babies don't know how to quit. They don't know how to quit. Another reference that I really didn't talk about in class because none of the kids know who this person is, and I really didn't follow and don't follow sports too much. But all of us know who Babe Ruth is. And Babe Ruth, home run king. This man would call his shots, he would point, and he would put that ball exactly where he pointed. But what many of us may not be aware of this home run king of home runs, is he was also known for something else. He was the strikeout king. He was also known as being the king of strikeouts. So Babe Ruth, do you think that the thought ever crossed his mind when he struck out and struck out and struck out and struck out and struck out again, to the point to where these guys were calling him the strikeout king? Do you think the thought ever crossed his mind of, maybe this baseball thing isn't really for me? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but imagine if he would have said, I should probably try something else. He didn't have the quit in him. He was kept going, and kept doing what he was doing until he got better at it. So basically, everything is a lesson, Quitting or how to quit is a lesson that is taught, and it is an education that is learned. So if, the baby falls down, and, us as parents tell them, say, oh, it's okay, just stay down there, this probably isn't for you. Well, then that was a lesson that was taught, and now it's an education that is learned that, okay, well, once something doesn't go my way, or I have a difficult time with something, then maybe I should probably just give up on it and go another direction. Obviously, this isn't what we want to do. Perseverance, never giving up. Again, it's a lesson that is taught. It's an education that is learned. So we want to teach these guys, and this is a constant discussion for me to the children, that just because something doesn't go your way, or just because something doesn't go the way that you had planned, the way that you had wanted it to go, doesn't mean that you give up or turn around and walk away. No, you got to figure out a way through it, figure out a way past it. Whether it's take it a little slower. Maybe you fall down off, from a kick, and I've fallen down hundreds of times. But I've thrown thousands of kicks, thousands and thousands and thousands of kicks, and I've only fallen down hundreds of times. Now imagine me, imagine same thing with me. Imagine if I fell down on a kick and I thought in my head, maybe this taekwondo thing really isn't for me. Looking back, there's many, many mistakes that I've made in my taekwondo career, in my forms, my competitions, my teaching, all that stuff. And the thought never crossed my mind of, hey, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this sport of taekwondo isn't for me. Maybe teaching isn't for me. No, I always looked at that and said, how can I get better from here? What can I fix? What can I do to make that change? And whether it was somebody from the outside guiding me, or whether it was whether it was myself saying, no, this isn't good enough. This isn't right. This was a lesson that was taught by somebody somebody teaching me, or by me teaching myself. It was an education that was learned, to not give up just because things weren't going my way. And these are the discussions that we're constantly having with the kids. You're not always going to break your board. You're not always going to land that kick. You're not always going to hit your target. You're not always going to have a good day. You're not always going to have a bad day. You're not always going to pass your testings. You're not always going to have that high score. You're not always going to graduate with honors. You're not always going to make it to class on time. You're not always going to leave on time. You're not always going to get to play that game. We can go on and on and on and on and on forever. And our discussions are trying to tell them, we're trying to teach the lesson, and trying to give the education of perseverance. Don't give up. Just because something doesn't go the way that you had planned it doesn't mean that it's not going to go the way that you want it to go. Today just wasn't your day. Take a step back, figure out what went wrong, and then go from there. In sparring, we talk about this kick and that kick and this punch and that punch. You throw that kick and it doesn't work. That does not mean that that kick does not work. It means that it didn't work at that very given moment, that very given time, because something didn't go the way that you had planned. Maybe they moved. Maybe they block it. Maybe you slipped. Maybe you didn't go fast enough. Maybe you kicked the wrong leg. Maybe you went this way when you should have went that way. You step back, you make an adjustment, and you move forward. This is a lesson that is taught. This is an education that is learned. So we can learn a lot. We know we can learn a lot from ourselves. We can learn a lot from other people as well. But perseverance, patience, these were the discussions we were having, and we were making sure that they understand that, hey, the journey from white belt to black belt, the journey from kindergarten to high school, the journey from, your associate's degree to your bachelor's degree, from the beginning of your career to the top highest point of your career, these are some of the hardest journeys that we're going to travel. But it is a journey, and you can pick up many, 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 many things along the way, unless you give up halfway through the journey. So this is the discussion that we were having in class. A lot of, the parents, you're not here to hear these discussions, so I wanted to pass off this to you guys, and I will see you guys later.